Dover Motor Speedway is hosting the Nascar All-Star Race for the very first time in 2026. And before a single green flag has dropped, two stories have already collided to make this one of the most talked about All-Star weekend in recent memory. One story is about rubber, concrete, and the kind of tire chaos that could completely scramble strategy for every crew chief in the garage. The other is about the soul of the All-Star race itself, what it is, what it should be, and whether the sport is finally willing to get bold enough to save it. Both stories matter, and the fact that they are happening at the same time, at the same track, in the same weekend, is not a coincidence. It is a signal that NASCAR knows something needs to change. Before getting into the tire news, it is important to understand exactly what Dover Motor Speedway is and why it presents such a unique challenge. This is not a smooth, forgiving oval where cars glide. Dover is a 1-mile concrete oval with steep, aggressive banking that puts relentless pressure on every component of the car, especially the tires. Drivers have described it for years as one of the most physically and mechanically demanding tracks on the entire calendar. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. put plainly when he said, "The car is never really planted. It's kind of on edge the whole time. It can reward you for driving hard, but it can bite you at the same time. It's intense and it's fun." That description captures exactly why Dover is so fascinating and so dangerous at the same time. The corner loads are enormous. The speeds are punishing. And because Dover's concrete surface is notably smooth compared to most other tracks, rubber builds into the groove steadily throughout a race, which means the track itself is constantly evolving underneath the drivers. What starts as a slick, grip-limited surface in the early laps can become a heavily rubbered, high-grip groove by the finals. That transformation changes handling, changes lap times, and forces teams to continuously chase the right setup. It is one of the reasons Dover rewards long green flag racing, because the longer the run, the more the track changes, and the more strategy comes into play. Now, take all of that complexity and introduce a brand new tire that nobody has ever raced on this track before. NASCAR officially confirmed that Goodyear is bringing an entirely new tire combination specifically developed for the 2026 All-Star race at Dover Motor Speedway. This is not a recycled setup pulled from another race week. This is a purpose-built combination designed with Dover's specific demands in mind. Cup Series teams will run a left-side Goodyear Racing Eagle that made its debut at Bristol Motor Speedway back in April. The right-side tire is the same rubber that competed in Dover's 400-miler last July. The connection between Bristol and Dover is deliberate. Both are concrete tracks with high-banked, high-speed corners. And while Bristol is roughly half the size at 0.533 miles, the surface characteristics and corner loading profiles are similar enough that data from one track can meaningfully inform setup decisions at the other. Goodyear NASCAR product manager Rick Heinrich explained the strategy directly. Teams will be able to combine their data from Bristol in April with their running from Dover last season to optimize their setups ahead of this. We are bringing a tire setup specifically designed to withstand the track's high speeds and heavy loads, while also helping lay rubber on its concrete surface, particularly given how smooth it is. That final phrase is the one that matters most. Dover's smoothness means rubber accumulation is significant, and this new tire was specifically engineered to contribute to that rubber laydown. In practical terms, that means the racing surface could evolve dramatically between segment 1 and the final 200-lap run. Grip levels will shift. The preferred line will widen. Drivers who adapt quickest will gain positions. Those who cannot adjust will fall backward. Introducing a new tire into any race environment creates uncertainty. Introducing one into an all-star race at Dover, where no points are at stake and every crew chief in the garage is already willing to roll the dice, turns that uncertainty into something potentially explosive. The fundamental tension at Dover is always between track position and tire condition. Clean air at the front of the field is historically the most powerful asset a driver can have at this track. Once someone gets to the lead and builds a gap, passing them becomes extraordinarily difficult. But heavy tire degradation disrupts that dynamic entirely. If the new Goodyear setup creates significant fall-off during long runs, drivers managing their tires on older rubber can run down leaders who push too hard too early. Suddenly, the crew chief who decides to stay out 3 laps longer than everyone else might be the smartest person in the build or the one who gave away a race. Chris Buescher addressed exactly this when he said, A lot of laps is a good thing. For Dover, and what we're trying to accomplish there, rubbering up the track, moving around, and creating better racing, I think more laps and more cars on track is the right call. His point connects directly to the tire story. More laps means more rubber goes down, which means the track changes more, which means the tire behavior at lap 200 looks nothing like it did at lap 1. Teams that plan for that evolution will have an edge. And because this is the all-star race, the strategic gambles will be wilder than anything seen in a regular season. Nobody is protecting a point standing. Nobody is calculating playoff implications. The only thing on the line is $1 million and bragging rights. That environment already encourages aggressive decision. Add an untested tire compound and the potential for late race chaos rises dramatically. The tire story does not begin when the race starts. It begins on Saturday during a qualifying session that is unlike anything in a standard NASCAR week. Cup Series teams will receive one additional tire set specifically for qualifying, which brings the total tire allotment to 10 sets. 6 new sets for the race, 2 for qualifying and the pit crew challenge, and 2 for practice. That pit crew challenge is the key detail. Rather than a traditional qualifying run, competitors will take the green flag, complete one full flying lap, then stop for a 4-tire pit stop on lap 2 with no fuel added, and then race back to the finish line. The total time from green to checkered, including that pit stop, determines qualifying position. The crew with the fastest pit stop and no penalties wins the pit crew challenge, which then sets pit selection order for the all-star race itself. This format means pit crews are no longer supporting cast members on qualifying day. They're central to the outcome. One slow tire change, one lug nut penalty, one fumble jack drop can change a team's entire week. As NASCAR confirmed, the pit crew with the fastest pit stop and no penalties will win the pit crew challenge, with the results determining pit selection order for the all-star race. That connection between qualifying performance and race day pit strategy is a layer of complexity the all-star format has never had before. While the Cup tire story is the headline, it is worth noting that Goodyear made significant changes across all 3 series competing at Dover this week. The NASCAR O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and the Craftsman Truck Series will both run a new right-side tire combination specifically developed to handle Dover's heavy corner loads and high speed. The left-side tires for both series were also used at Darlington Raceway, Rockingham Speedway, and Bristol earlier in 2026. The tire allotments break down as follows. O'Reilly Auto Parts Series teams receive 5 total sets, 3 new sets for the race, 1 for practice, and 1 from qualifying that transfers to the race. Craftsman Truck Series teams receive the same 5-set allotment under identical terms. This is not a minor footnote. NASCAR and Goodyear are making meaningful, deliberate tire changes across every level of competition at one of the most demanding tracks in the sport. While the tire story dominated early headlines, NASCAR also officially confirmed the complete format for the 2026 All-Star race, and it is genuinely unlike anything the event has used. The race runs 350 total laps, broken into 3 segments, 75 laps, then another 75 laps, then a final 200-lap run. There is no All-Star Open this year. Instead of a separate qualifying race, results from a Saturday qualifying session set the complete field for Segment 1. After Segment 1 concludes, the top 26 finishers are inverted for Segment 2. The driver who finished first starts 26th. The driver who finished 26th starts first. The remaining drivers line up by finish behind them. That inversion is not subtle. It is designed to scramble the running order and generate chaos heading into the finale. Only 26 drivers advance to the final 200-lap segment. NASCAR confirmed the qualification criteria. The field for the final segment will include 2025 and 2026 Cup Series race winners, former Cup Series champions who compete full-time, a fan vote winner, and remaining drivers based on the lowest combined finishing positions among segments 1 and 2. If there is a tie-in combined finishes, the first tiebreaker is the best finish in either segment, and the second tiebreaker is the best finish in segment 1 specifically. Drivers already locked into the field include Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, William Byron, Ryan Blaney, Christopher Bell, Joey Logano, Ross Chastain, Austin Cindric, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, Bubba Wallace, Tyler Reddick, Chase Briscoe, Shane Van Gisbergen, and others. The field is elite, and every driver who has not yet locked in has genuine incentive to perform in the first two segments. Driver reaction to the format has been notably positive. Riley Herb said, "It's always fun going up to Dover. It's a mile concrete track with high banking, so it's a lot of fun for us drivers. I'm excited to get there." And Noah Gragson, a three-time All-Star fan vote winner, noted that while he's hoping to qualify on speed the fan connection remains central to his All-Star experience. "It's been great to have the fan support. It's the most incredible thing to have. To have their support and know they're in my corner makes those tougher weekends not as bad." While NASCAR was finalizing and announcing its confirmed format, Dale Earnhardt Jr. was publicly pushing for something far more radical. He wants multi-class racing in the NASCAR All-Star race. All three national series on the same track at the same time. His proposal is straightforward. Bring Cup Series cars, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series cars, and Craftsman Truck Series vehicles together into one combined, invite-only All-Star event. Tighten the eligibility requirements to make the invitation genuinely exclusive. Then put all three classes of machinery on track simultaneously and let them race. Dale Jr. laid it out directly. You could tighten up the restrictions on how you get into the All-Star race. You could have all three truck, O'Reilly, and Cup race. It makes getting into the race a challenge. Invite only. Slower cars creates unique challenges. Consider what that last line actually means at Dover Motor Speedway. Traffic management is already one of the most difficult elements of racing at the Monster Mile. Lapping slower cars in a standard Cup race is a legitimate challenge. Now imagine Cup cars trying to navigate around Xfinity cars and trucks while everyone is driving at maximum aggression for $1 million and no points are at stake. The chaos would be unlike anything NASCAR has put on a track in decades. It would be unpredictable. It would be controversial. And it would be completely impossible to look away from. Dale Jr.'s thinking reflects a genuine understanding of what the All-Star race has been missing. The event was built on a simple premise. Take the best drivers, remove the safety net of points racing, and let them go. Over time, that premise has been diluted by format changes, venue shuffling, and an era where every regular season race already carries playoff implications. The All-Star race no longer feels categorically different from a normal week. Dale Jr. wants to fix that by making it structurally unlike anything else on the calendar. NASCAR is not implementing multi-class racing in 2026. The confirmed format stands. But the fact that a voice as prominent and respected as Dale Earnhardt Jr. is publicly making this argument, and that fans are debating it seriously across social media and fan forums, tells you something important about the state of the All-Star race heading into. Underneath the tire news and the format debate, there's a third story at Dover this week, and it is arguably the most important one of all. Dover Motor Speedway may be racing for its future. Jordan Bianchi of The Athletic reported on Sunday's episode of The Teardown that there is a genuine concern about Dover's long-term relationship with NASCAR. His assessment was blunt. There's a genuine concern about Dover's future among people. They've lost one race. They're stuck now with an all-star race that nobody is interested in. It's been jerked around. It doesn't have a spot in the schedule. It's one of those that just keeps getting moved around here, there, wherever. Dover lost its regular points-paying race for 2026, replaced by the all-star assignment. That shift came with multiple complications. The race is scheduled for 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, a daytime slot, because Dover's proximity to Dover Air Force Base means lights cannot be used on the facility. A nighttime all-star race would have generated significant additional atmosphere and television. That option simply does not exist here. Bianchi also raised the uncomfortable reality about fit. Dover's a good track, but I think we both agree it's a track built on long, green flag run and that kind of thing. It's not conducive for an all-star race form. The segmented, inversion-heavy format NASCAR designed is inherently at odds with what Dover does best. The Monster Mile shines when cars run long. The track evolves, and teams make strategic calls over extended green flag stretches. A 75-lap sprint into an inversion does not organically produce that kind of racing. Ticket sales have reportedly been soft. Fan enthusiasm online has been mixed. And if attendance is visibly poor on Sunday, it creates a documented rationale, fairly or not, for NASCAR to justify removing Dover from the schedule entirely in 2027. That is the real weight of this week. Every lap run at the Monster Mile on Sunday is also an argument for or against Dover's future. The All-Star Race spent years losing the quality that made it special. When the event launched, it was genuinely different from everything else on the NASCAR calendar. Drivers pushed harder because there was nothing to protect. Teams gambled because there was no next week to worry about. The race had an identity. That identity eroded gradually. The purse, once massive in relative terms, has not kept pace with what top NASCAR teams now earn. The playoff system has made every regular season race feel consequential, which paradoxically made the All-Star Race feel less so. As one fan wrote in a widely circulated Reddit thread, the event risks becoming the Pro Bowl of NASCAR, a showcase that goes through the motions without delivering genuine. This weekend at Dover represents a real attempt to reverse that trend. New tires nobody has raced before, a format built around chaos and inversion, a venue making its all-star debut, a public conversation about multi-class racing that would fundamentally transform the event's identity. None of these elements guarantee a great race, but they collectively represent something the All-Star Race has not had in years: genuine unpredictability. NASCAR has always built its best moments on bold decision. The Daytona 500 exists because someone believed super speedway racing could be the centerpiece of a sport. The Bristol Night Race became a cultural moment because someone decided short track racing under lights deserved a massive stage. The history of this sport is filled with ideas that sounded risky and turn out to be defining. The question this weekend at Dover is whether NASCAR is still capable of that kind of thinking, and whether the Monster Mile can deliver a race worthy of the conversation surrounding it.